Okay, so with the concepts I have now, I'm just gonna lay them all out, including worst case scenario ideas, which I wanted to not talk about yet. You out there as traveling and having your data pulled out, being called wanderers, is the category we're thinking of, and then you're pulling out data of people who think they're on their own planets when they're not, also to be like showing me their frustration for things not working out, and it's actually just your data on your craft. The idea that there's planets out there being pulled out with atoms and working against us by influxing and coming here and keeping my situation going like this is not actually happening now. And the rate of groups changing in, whether it be by the same people pulling them out or not, it does matter who's in the back. And if they changed out because you started stepping back on your own data to the point where you don't know what you're doing anymore and what just happened, right? That's when you consider that you're done. You know, the suggestions I've been making are exactly what you need to do if you're thinking about survival. Because if it comes down to a couple of hours, or even an hour, or not even up to, and then your group gets taken over by a different group because you can no longer maintain like your situation in terms of knowing what it is, it's actually needing to be honest with yourself and realize that those situations are only short term, you know. The worst thing you can do is threaten me with, we're gonna yard you. And like, you don't even realize you can't even do anything. And from my point of view, you can't to me or make me do anything I don't want to. It actually is. And the data of planets with residents that are positives, have BPC security, have the residents out and about all doing things and living and owning their residences and having money. You have the data I've been hearing and you're not pulling them out. Is the issue atoms? You build them up somewhere, hint, hint. You're thinking on the planet where there are positives somewhere where they don't know where it is up until the point where you have enough for actualizing a planet like that. You try to use it for your own objectives and actualize these other planets which have negative situations that don't last. This cycle, your situation's repeating over and over, and it not getting anywhere, and me seeing the same regulars even though there's different people in the back just changing crews because they ended up at their demise because they couldn't maintain their like consciousness in real time and what they're doing. You end up thinking of these situations, okay, and then uh, our worst case scenario time frame, is it a time frame or are we actually good forever with you doing that and us waiting for you to get the fuck on? Sorry, who am I talking to, right? What's gonna be the indicators telling you what our situation is when I myself get tired of thinking about it and need to do something else, and then you end up just doing what I'm doing, no matter what it is, and following along? And then needing to get back to it would be what, me getting back to it myself, or are you actually looking at data because your situation is so negative and you know it, where it heads when you look at the posts I made, these other videos, and then you don't want to even look. Us having to wait through all of that for how long? My situation of $40 a day will get how bad when you consider the breadth of your abilities in terms of attacks. I've seen everything there is to see. I've heard everything there is to hear. You can't do anything, and all we do is wait. That's all we can eat. We're not destitute. We have residences. We're entitled to them. And the other residents who already got their first deposit of CLA are looking at already expecting over 10 million. They already got the first deposit, which I'm assuming is the same in terms of the value, which is around 800,000 for them to make a trip and then even purchase a residence, a vehicle, when for the time when they actually move here is what they got already, right? For their first deposit. Going up towards a million, I'm thinking the same amount as I calculated for myself and my activities. It's the same. I looked further into that, and they're good for how long? You take your food expenses and make it $70 a day for a whole year. It comes out to like 24 grand. And then even if you're paying rent right now, you moved locally on your own planet where you are, bounced out to, until you can move here, right? Or making the moves to, or you haven't because you don't want to spend your money at all. You do it at even up to 5,000 a month. You're looking at 60,000 a year. And a deposit of 800,000 will last you around 9 years from the point where you got your first deposit. We're kind of good for that long in terms of the residents who already started receiving CLA, and the ones who didn't move out of their PML residences don't have to worry about it. It's the money we get for food, and we're holding tight on it until you can make the moves that we need in order to move on in our universe. That's the worst case scenario for us. We don't die. And we've seen everything there is to see. You can't compromise anyone. You can't hope to achieve anything. We just watch you do that over and over, the things that you do that we've seen for how many years now, and it gets to be where, you move on to your next phase like I'm describing in my recent post, and then you get over the fact that they're still doing the same thing, but but ultimately it does nothing to you. All I have to do is clean up over here in this room when I get the motivation returned to me. But you end up with this like faint, low volume sounding, indecipherable volumes and like light explosions, and us watching you go through that every day forever. Those who are having you come to them every day still. Not that we don't care, but we don't have to pay any attention to it really, and we could just do something else. And that's what you'll be going through forever. Us waiting for the people who will pull out the planets among the data that they have, which are the ones that we need out in order to progress and have a different situation with our aggregate happen. That's all I think.